I walked away from a 3.5 decades long career at the age of 60 for 3 big reasons. And the third one, it wasn't about money, travel, or freedom. It was something I never saw coming. I'm 63 years old now. I spent decades in the corporate world dealing with all the pressure and uncertainties that come with it. When people think about retirement, they usually think about the obvious stuff, like paying off debt, escaping the commute, and having more leisure time. Well, the first two were 2 of my reasons, but the third one, well, that's one that actually made the decision for me, and it might surprise you. Welcome to the UnRetired, where you're not done, but you're finally doing what you want. If you're in your 50s or 60s and thinking about retirement and what it could look like, please hit the like button. And if you're in your 70s and 80s, it's not too late to subscribe and learn a bunch of new tricks about how to maximize the best of your retirement. That helps more people our age find the content that speaks to our reality. Now let's share those 3 reasons. Reason number 1, financial peace. Our first goal was financial freedom. So we paid off our car loans and other debt. We cleared all of our credit cards and confirmed our other financial retirement plans. And let me tell you, that feeling of having no debt, it's the difference between surviving and actually living. How many times have you woken up in the middle of the night racing about bills to pay? Well, those are all of a sudden gone. That knot in your stomach when unexpected expenses hit, gone too. The U.S. Federal Reserve shows that the average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt. And for those approaching retirement, it's often higher. And look, financial stress doesn't just hurt your wallet. Studies show financial worry directly impacts your sleep, your anxiety, and your relationships. As Dave Ramsey puts it, you must gain control over your money or the lack of it will forever control you. Financial planners will tell you over and over, and I agree with this, pay down your high interest debt before you even think about retiring. It's not glamorous, but it builds a foundation that you can actually sleep on. Clear debt equals a clear mind. And that alone made retirement feel possible instead of just a pipe dream. When you eliminate those monthly obligations, that monthly payment, you're freeing up cash flow and you're freeing up mental space to enjoy the years you work so hard to reach. Drop a comment below if you felt that weight of debt lifting off your shoulders, or if you're still working towards that financial peace. I read every comment, and your stories help me and others who are on the same journey. Reason number 2, commuting and daily drag. An hour and a half a day on the road, up before sunrise, home after dark, just to keep the job going. Not to mention all the time it takes getting ready for work, packing a lunch, and all the other logistics about going to and from the office, then getting home and getting undressed and all of that too. It all adds up. But it wasn't just the commute. There's the corporate pressure is obvious and it's intense. If you lose a big account, you could see layoffs coming down the pipeline or some other calamity on the horizon. The uncertainty, the politics, the constant need to prove yourself over and over. It's exhausting. It's very tiring. Look at this data. The average American spends 54 minutes a day commuting. That's 220 hours a year just sitting in traffic. And again, that doesn't include getting ready for the commute. It's not about just the time in the car. Every morning, sitting in that traffic, it felt heavy. Not the traffic itself, it was all of it. The stress, the worry, the key moments at home that I was missing that I could never get back. Walking away from that daily drain in the commute, well, that was reason number 2, but it still wasn't the big one. That's reason number 3, letting go of an identity. The third reason wasn't financial. It wasn't about freedom. It was about grief. The grief of letting go of a life that I'd built over almost 40 years. See, I thought I'd retire on my own terms. I had a plan, a timeline, a finish line that I'd drawn in my own head. But then we merged our company. The deal was good for both sides, but when the dust settled, I was redundant. And just like that, the role and the career that I'd poured decades into was gone. And it happened about a year earlier than I was hoping for or had planned for. And what surprised me the most was how deeply I felt it. It didn't just feel like the end of a job. It felt like somebody had died. And in a way, someone had. It was my career that had died. The person I'd been day in, day out for so many years was suddenly gone. People talk about grieving the loss of a loved one, but we rarely talk about grieving the loss of a version of ourselves. The leadership, the momentum, the sense of being needed, it all vanished for me overnight. And it left me with a question I hadn't prepared for. Who am I without all this? That's what made me realize I didn't just need rest, I needed to grieve. Not just the loss of a paycheck or a title, but the death of an identity I'd carried most of my adult life. So yes, financial peace and escaping the daily drag were important, but this third reason, this was the emotional reckoning. Retirement didn't feel like a celebration at first. It felt kind of like a funeral. And yet that space, that stillness, that's where the real work began. Not winding down, but becoming someone new. So what came next? Looking back, I can see the first two reasons were the expected ones, the practical stuff that everybody talks about and thinks about, and there's probably some more practical ones that I haven't even mentioned there. But it was that third reason, this silent personal reckoning about loss and time, that made me press retire with full conviction. Here's what building a life with that clarity actually looked like, and what I chose to spend my time on after that. Let me tell you about my life after retirement. First, the freedom from constant worry. No mortgage payments hanging over us, no credit card bills, no 2-hour commutes stealing my mornings and evenings. That practical stuff really does matter. But more than that, I finally had emotional space, time to actually feel the grief instead of pushing through it. Time to reconnect with my wife, to have real conversations, to notice small joys again. Today, my days have a completely different rhythm now. Gentle mornings, walks when I want to take them, meals that aren't rushed. I start writing, I reflect, I connect with people in ways that actually matter. I eventually realized that prioritizing my health became natural instead of just another item on the to-do list. So when you're not constantly in survival mode, taking care of yourself stops feeling like a luxury and starts feeling like common sense. Really, it does. If you're starting to question what you're really chasing and want more conversations like this about living intentionally in your 50s and 60s and in your 70s and 80s, make sure you're subscribed, because these are the discussions we need to be having. So what's my big conclusion here? If you're thinking about retirement, yes, get your finances in order, of course. Got to do that. And yes, consider that you want to escape from that drag and that commute and all the logistics and all that. Totally understand that. But also ask yourself, what do you need emotionally? What kind of person do you want to become in this next chapter of your life? For me, it took an unexpected loss to realize that time isn't just about having enough money to stop working. It's about having enough courage to start living, really living, with intention and presence. You're not too old, and it's not too late. Sometimes the most important reasons are the ones you never see coming.